Welcome everybody to your Tuesday lighting critique. It's not an official one today because Mike had to step out for the day, but we're here with a community lighting critique today. Very exciting.
Yep.
And we can get started now.
So
She's like, and I'm gonna hand it over.
That was beautiful.
yeah, that was a great job.
Well done. Yay.
I'm clapping.
Yay.
It's not picking up on my mic.
Okay, let's start.
All right, so I guess we'll start kind of with Kat, since that's the first in my Photoshop, and since Kat's on the call.
You don't have to go through all three. You can just pick one or whatever. It's up
Cool.
to you guys.
Is there one in particular that you wanted feedback on?
Probably the one with the reflections. The one where she's reflected in the window. Was supposed to be. Go ahead, pull out.
This one?
Oh, I hope I hit watch stream, huh? There we go. I was watching all of you. Yeah, that one. And then the reference for that is that guy. Yeah, there you
Sweet. Excellent. Well,
go. Obviously, it's not a one-to-one. It's close.
Mm-hmm.
but it's a cool reference, and it definitely kind of helps us understand what you're going for.
Yeah, I decided to simplify my projects and just use the same assets and just focus on lighting. So this is actually, the background is actually the Harlem City. And I was going to do it somewhere else, but I didn't like the wall. So this is the one building in that scene that I found that actually has a reflective window. So I was like, well, I'll use that one. So,
Cool. Yeah, I think the scene setup is nice with the reflection. I think it's cool. The first thing that I'm noticing is the skin feels very matte. Yeah, I don't know if you guys agree, but like one of the things that they talked about in the lighting dark skin characters presentation too was like you need to really get the specularity in the skin. And I think, in the reference you can see like some reflections. You can see like the sky reflected on the forehead and it's like cheek and stuff. I think that would be something you would want to like try to get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree.
I actually have the specularity cranked on her all the way up, and for some reason I'm making it do what it's supposed to.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's more of a texture thing. You might have some setting in one of the files that like has to be checked for it to.
And when you say
I just don't think it's getting any.
Yeah, and when you say specularity is up all the way, does that also include the roughness? Like, are you able to control the roughness and bring that down to zero?
Yep, I can do roughness, metallic, and all that. So I've been changing settings left, right, and center on her. So yeah, it's I don't know if I'm messing up a setting when I'm trying to import the files or what's going on, but like none of the skin tones I can get looking as specky as they're supposed to on her, so I'm not quite sure what I'm doing.
Yeah, you should take a look at the like specular AOV and see if there's like any information in there, because if there isn't, you might be like missing a setting or something that's making it not get any.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, same here. The big thing that's standing out to me, which I think reads really, really well in the reference, is the play between cool tones and warm tones. Because I think if you look at your reference, or if you look at your image, actually, it's very warm right now, and that warm feeling is really, really nice. But I think something that I really, really loved in your reference was how the foreground's really cool tone and like almost like purpley in tone, which I think is really interesting. And so then when you get that bright like flash of orange across his eye, it's so striking. Yeah, so I think if you could bring out the cool tones in the foreground a little bit more, I think it would just make that lighting just pop a lot more.
Yeah, definitely giving it that contrast between like here this side's very dark versus the very bright of the sky. You're totally right. Contrast would definitely add. And I can see you have.
Yeah, I had the dark on her face actually darker, but it looked to me, it kind of looked like it was too spotlighty. Like the one side was super bright and the other side was completely dark, and so I actually put more light on that side, just so it didn't look like it didn't look like there was a light blocker blocking her face. So I popped it up a little bit to kind of match because the pose is a little different, so it was kind of hard to get, because she's facing the light, whereas he's kind of turned. So it was like kind of, I was trying to figure out how to mimic that more, because she's going to be facing the light dead on. Whereas in the reference, his head's turned, so his body is just getting bounce light.
Mm-hmm.
Where his face is getting, it's darker, I think, because of the way it's set up. So I wasn't quite sure if I was going to be able to, because if I blocked out her whole, made her body darker, it just kind of looked like there was just a spotlight on her face. So I didn't want it to look like there's a spotlight.
It depends on how much you
Yeah.
want to match.
But yeah, I can change the color of the lighting in the front.
Yeah, and if you want to match this this angle and the way that the light's hitting, because you're right, this light's definitely way more wrapped around to the other side of the character than yours is. So you could always turn your character to get that a bit more, like that more sideline, if you're trying to like match that exact lighting. But if
Yeah.
you're kind of taking it and then doing something different, that's also totally fine, of course.
Yeah,
but-
and I think right now, like the fill side is like in terms of brightness, I think it's good because you can read her facial features, but it's still very clearly dark. And we're back to the specularity because like I love specular.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you could see a little bit of specular, you could have like some details in the side of her face without making the whole side of the face brighter.
Yeah.
We'll go to 8
Yeah.
Right.
to see. But I actually think this might take less time.
Oh,
because I
Aaron,
think-
welcome, Aaron, but you're unmuted and some sounds coming through.
There you go.
Yeah, I'd say that your biggest thing, like Diana's saying, is figure out if you can get that specularity working, because I think that'll really sell this shot.
Right.
Yeah, but I think the setup is like really cool.
Yeah.
I like the reflection, so just getting the skin to cooperate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took. I finally got the hair working. That took a while because I ended up reloading it like 3 times and it just magically worked once. I was like, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So, cool.
Nice.
Sweet.
We'll see it. The update.
Yeah.
We'll be waiting for the update.
Alrighty, so then next up in our I'm gonna go with the people who are here first, and then we'll
Yeah.
so-
That's not to step out, but there's Bree.
Gotcha. Yes. So let's go with Bree. So for Bree, we have this reference, and then we have the actual plant update.
Yeah, I love the pot. The vase.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it looks kind of different, but but I think it's really good. Like I love where it's at.
Yeah, I think the main thing that immediately jumps out to me is saturation. Like all the references are super saturated. These greens are like deep, and like it brings out that specular, almost having that drastic difference, even in the vase as well. And then it all feels a little muted color-wise here.
Yeah, I think you can still lower the roughness on the leaves. Like it's better than it was before, but I think it could be like way shinier than you think it could be.
Yeah, I mean, like in this, you can hardly see any detail in those.
It's like blown out
Yeah.
highlight.
Definitely. I think like one of my major things with this project has been like convincing my brain that I can take this farther than
Yeah.
like, because I've always been like, oh, I don't want it to look too CG by having it be too shiny or too saturated. But like for this
Yes.
project, it really is about like pushing
Yeah.
those values. So like this has been like a fun exercise. 'Cause
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so used to like, oh, have to like break up your spec so it's
Yeah.
not so
Yeah.
so you don't get like those really hard edges on the spec. But for this, it's like that's how it looks in real life.
Yeah. That's
And funnily enough, for this render, I actually broke the spec map on my vase, so that's why it looks different. But it's
Yeah,
working.
yeah. Yeah. Her vase had so much specular. Like I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does again now. I was like, I somehow plugged in one of like the something in there, and I was like, why does this look different? And then like I went and looked, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's because I have no brain.
Oh, that happens
That's
like
not
when
true.
we spend like a lot of time on the same project.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'd say take it too far so that Jasmine has to
Yeah.
pull you back.
Yeah.
That's what I would suggest.
That's gonna be my next step, is just making it extremely shiny and like neon green.
Yeah, I honestly, like, I looked at her diffuse pass too, and I think the color of it is in a good place. I think it's just the specular.
Yeah, you would know more than I, for sure.
I'm invested. I've said this. But yeah, seriously, make it shinier, and then maybe like a really fine bump or displacement on the whole map, so it doesn't look like it's plastic. But we'll cross that bridge when we come.
Yeah, I've been fiddling. I've gotten to the point with this project where I like turn the bump down by like 0.1%, start rendering it, and I'm like, oh, I hate it. And then I turn it back to the original and I render it. I'm like, oh, I hate it. And then
Oh my
it's like that for like 3 weeks now.
Been there.
Yeah, gosh, I feel like that's how all looked dev projects are towards the end. It's just being like,
Somebody has to
start
be
a
like,
render.
you're done.
Yeah, exactly.
Any
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, I would say too, before you just maybe get because if you were looking back at the reference where you saw how shiny it was, there's a really bright light on it, and that the light, like, that's a really bright light, I think, hitting it. So maybe in between checking your renders, hit it with a bright light so you can see how it looks in that bright light too, because the lighting you're using seems to be kind of like a quiet light. So maybe just kind of crank it up to more of like a daylight look, so you can see. That way you'll be able to tell if maybe you have gone too far or not enough, because you'll be hitting it with daylight or something like that.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's a good thought, especially when you're doing your final exports for like Gesundheit.
That's you.
Yeah, I just need to like cycle through like 3 different HDRs every time I get a render.
Yeah.
To be like, how's it looking?
Yeah.
See, anyone else have any feedback? Part of this is we want it's good for all of us to have some training and giving feedback too. So don't be shy if you do want to give some input and critique. And Jordan.
Hi, Jordan.
How's it going? So let's go up to, I think next up, I know Aaron's in. Or actually, maybe we can say hi to Jasmine since we're on a materials one too. How's it going,
Hello,
Jasmine?
Did she hear? Or did she hear by accident?
Hello.
How's it going? Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
We just gave some feedback to Bree. Our suggestion was to take this as far as she can, make it more green, more specular, so that you have to pull it back next time.
Yeah, I think we just, let her chill,
Yeah.
and we can go to maybe start in alphabetical order now.
So
Or Aaron's here. So.
yeah, let's move on to Aaron now. So it looks like here's the test. Then I'll quickly go through the 2 references as well. Nice. So anyone have any initial thoughts right off the bat?
I can jump in. I feel like I'm sort of repeating myself, but I feel like again it's like a thing of like the differing tones, because like if you look at this, there's so much red. Where like if you look at some of the reference, I feel like it's decently broken up, especially like between like the different tones. Like this one's more blue, but you definitely have like maybe like 45-35% red in there too. And then with the other one, there's like a good bit of green and a good bit of purple and pink and all of this like different breakup in the color. So I feel like that'll really push your image, because right now it's very red, and you have like those moments where it's like there you have the pop of blue in the back, and then you have like the bright white sign, and I think those are working really well. But I think if you add more of those, I think it'll start to really pop. Like those images.
Oh, where's that?
It's Jasmine.
Hear me?
It's Jasmine.
Uh,
It's at the top.
there we go.
Okay, yeah.
But those are my biggest thoughts on it.
Yeah,
Okay. So you're saying to add in more blue?
Or just add in like more pops of color, because I think like in both of your references, they're not just primarily like one color. Like the one is definitely like blue and red, but then the other one's like red and green and pink and orange. And so I think if you add more just variation in the color, I think it'll add a lot to your scene.
yeah, I would agree. And like,
I think I had like I don't know if I posted it. There was one basically where the top of the image had blue instead of red. Like the very top with the lamps around there, it was blue instead of red. That was about it. Really. But,
yeah, I mean, I feel like you have.
I remember your your other iterations.
yeah.
You have a lot of like these cool lanterns and things that I feel like in this reference there are these like kind of mix of white and blue light coming from the lanterns, and then like this image is so easy to look at. Like I feel myself fall into it, and I think a lot of that has to do with like their balance of color, and it like draws you into to the end of the like the door at the very end, and then the two side oranges
Yeah,
because
I
of all
was
the
like,
blue.
Like I got this image because not because of the color. Well, the
Mhm.
color balance was really good, but not the specific color. But
Yeah.
like how it kind of leads you down the line. How there's like an area and it's like organized, kind
Yeah.
of, where it's like
Oh yeah.
orange and blue, and then orange, and then blue, and then orange in the back.
So-
for the center of focus.
You could definitely
Yeah, for-
do that in here.
For your scene, is the focus of the like story supposed to be at that little blue door at the end?
Yeah, the
Mm.
it's supposed to be like a missive for a vending machine. We haven't got the texture for it yet.
Ah, nice.
It's like a placeholder, but for right now, it's it's the mask shot with the little mask, and it's gonna be where the characters stop and where the scene is gonna take place. So yeah, it's very much supposed to be the focus. So yeah.
Yeah. So definitely like you have these lights still, you have these lights over here. Experiment with drawing the viewer in like this one does. Like a lot of this is that warm over cool that Mike and Jasmine talk about. There's this cool light kind of enveloping around the area you want people to focus. And then they have like these nice accents on the side, giving some balance to the image. So you have
Yeah,
a very
I
similar
also-
setup. Sorry, Diana.
No, yeah, I just have to run in a few minutes, but I just want to say for the last point, I think in your references there are little pockets of light coming from lanterns or doors. They're like smaller pockets of stronger light, and I think it would be really nice if you had that because I think a lot of what we're talking about is that there's like sort of a couple big lights in your scene that's sort of lighting everything or lighting a lot of things more evenly. And I think if you pushed some of the smaller lights like behind those lanterns and stuff and got the effect of those to be brighter and a little smaller and more focused, it would be like create some visual interest.
Okay.
Just ideas though. I don't know.
Sorry guys, did you see Jasmine wants critique on her demo reel too?
Yeah, I did.
My goodness.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'll
Yeah, that's
I'm
probably
so
why she's
excited.
not.
yeah, I just let her know. We'll add
I
it
feel
to
like we're
it.
being like secretly tested or something.
We'll be graded on this later.
No, but yeah, that's great. It's a community, and it's, like, I think it's a great learning lesson in that, like, feedback is, it's an integral part no matter where you are, because that's how
Anyone
images
can give
are
it to
proved.
anyone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Just one more thing on this image
Yeah.
before you move on. You guys were all, but I think too, like, can you go back to the reference really quick, Forrest? This is a narrower shot, camera perspective wise, so it's easier to channel your eye directly to the door where it's bright.
Yeah.
And there's no foreground character, but in your shot that you're working on, there's a foreground character in the background. So at some point, we need to decide if the foreground character is the important part or the background's the important part. Where's he going, or is the focus going to be on the character?
Yeah, that's true. This is gonna be a whole animated sequence. I think this is
Oh, it's
like,
animated. That's right. Okay.
Mhm.
yeah,
Um,
this is gonna be like one of the shots like this. It's probably gonna be a different composition and all that.
So
But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
you're totally right.
Mhm.
Totally right. I'll probably
Yeah.
change the focal length, and there might
Yeah.
even be some depth of field going on once that's
Yeah,
done.
just I mean, once you plot what your character's story is, then you can light to reflect the story because you're going to be guiding the viewer where you're wanting to take them in your
Mhm.
story.
that's
Yeah.
that's a good point for sure, Kat. And like if we look at this, like let's say like like almost a half of the frame is this blue. So
Mm-hmm.
if you did something similar, like if your shot was locked or you had to, like you could, these lights could be blue, these lights could be blue, these lights could be blue. There could be warm light coming from here and that warm light hitting there. You know, like, or like some way to like warm over cool or light over dark, draw your like your viewer's eye into
Mm-hmm.
this character and this masks, and like maybe part of that is having this rim on this side, creating more of a warm on warm connection between your character and the masks. Just as like a thought, like I think this was something Mike pointed out when looking at the Rhea, the DreamWorks, like he showed like how they had that edge light or the edge light wrap to draw in your connection between like the character's foot and the thing they're about to kick, or just getting as much information across as possible in a short amount of time. Any other thoughts before moving on to the next one?
I just wanted to like sort of like reconfirm like what you guys are saying. Like I think like it'll add to the story of this scene to have like those little pockets of light. Like it's like leading him into like some sort of adventure, you
Mhm.
know? So I think really like being able to have like the here's a pocket of blue, here's a pocket of blue, here's a pocket of blue. I think that'll like really add to it, and it's gonna look really sick when you like animate the character like walking through there or
Mhm.
whatever you're gonna have the character
Yeah.
do. It'll like really pop in the animation.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely like get those lines going throughout the road where it's like the little open doors with pockets of light going across the road that lead to the shop.
Yeah, for sure.
I
Okay,
have
yeah.
one thing,
Okay, cool.
actually. I think it'd be cool if you had like a shadow depicting like there was like the vendor on like the left and right side, just to kind of add light from the outside of the scene, just to make it feel like there's even more depth to it, you know, like characters that you're not actually seeing but you know are there.
Hmm.
No, that's just
Well, it is 3 a.m. Like the shot is
Oh,
supposed to
okay.
go on like at like a time where everything's closed and it's night and it's just
Oh, I see. Okay.
everybody by himself.
In that case, probably would not be any vendors.
I totally get what you mean. Though.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, well, let's move on.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Who is there anyone else in this call who has work? I don't think so. So we'll just we'll go to Vanessa just because it's up at the top here. So was this just oh, there we go. I see it now. Yeah, this is cool.
Nice.
Like the background is great. Like matches it pretty dang close.
Yeah, you nailed that, Vanessa.
Yeah. The colors are looking start looking great. I think there's maybe some additive lighting issues I'm noticing here. Like it's getting kind of orangey here, and then there's like kind of spotty look going up this yellowish tone. And I think I like the speck on this side a lot. And I almost wonder what this would look like if the speck was played up a bit more. Like just to really like get as much of that like speck in the skin tone as possible. But yeah, those are my thoughts so far. Anyone else?
Can you go back to the reference?
For sure. Oops, wrong reference. There you go.
Okay, okay, you can go back. Yeah, so I think one thing I noticed was that Mr. Incredible was being hit by kind of like a warm light on the right side as well. Like it kind of felt like it was a silhouette almost. Yeah, like it kind of looked like it was rimming him from the back there.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's like looks like it's stronger on the left, but it's slightly there on the right. And it's kind of like shaping his shoulders. I think if a little bit of that was put into play, that would be really neat to see. Some rim hitting her from the right side as well, and then pushing back. I think that'd be cool to see herself being like silhouetted like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. Definitely playing a bit more with that wrapped lighting. Let's go back, zooming out just so I make sure I'm getting the whole image. Yeah, and it's showing up too on the clothes for him. And what I was noticing in here is I'm not seeing a lot of these kind of tones hitting the clothes. It's like kind of warmer sunlight tones, and like it might be nice to see that kind of wrap on the clothing as well as the skin. And then you could definitely start getting that more like backlit, silhouetted look. I like the red hits that I'm seeing, like and the blues that are coming from the backdrop. Yeah, and I think personally I would just love to see a bit more specular and see what that looks like. But yeah, this is cool. Anybody else? Trying to think if I have any other thoughts. Maybe the eye dings could be a bit outside of the pupils. Like I think it's maybe if they were just up and to the left a little bit more, so we have a bit more definition in the pupils. That'd be cool. And then the eyelashes look like there might be some geometry, and the eyebrows might have some geometry or some shader texture issues that might need to be looked at in the next go through. But all the clothes look great. And then
I think personally, I'd be curious. I would want to see the eye dings be like a little more saturated. I think they're pretty much white in the reference as well.
Yeah.
But still, I think it would be cool to see something that's more sun colored.
I think that's definitely a good call as well. And maybe, no, I think that's all I have. Sweet. Unless anyone else has anything else, we can move on to the next one. All right. Next up is Alfredo with another Ashley, which is awesome. So here's his render. And then here is the reference from Mirror's Edge. Nice. Go back to...
He modeled that so well, the environment.
Yeah. Yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's modeled?
Yeah, he created that whole
man, I didn't
environment.
even know.
Ooh.
I thought that was like a drawing. It looks so good.
Yeah, it's impressive. Yeah, really, really dang close.
I think the only thing that I noticed with this is because the reference, she's wearing dark and her hair is dark. If you go back to his, like she kind of disappears.
Mhm.
She's like completely blown out. Like I know her arm's kind of behind her, but she doesn't stand out as much. I don't know if maybe he's got to do something with a little less diffuse light or something, but like she's very prominent in this one, and with his, she's kind of, it doesn't quite hit the same.
Yeah.
And also the front of the reference, it's shadowed, whereas he doesn't have that.
Yeah.
So it's so much bright, you kind of lose her face, Ashley's face in this. You see obviously all the glowy stuff on her clothes, but her face is really hidden.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe work with something on making it a little less bright on the background, put some light blockers up or something to make her stand out more.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like overall, like the range of the values in the foreground can be overall pushed a lot more to kind of give that sense of depth to the whole scene. And then, like honestly, could probably go like 50, like maybe 30 to 40% darker, or maybe even more in the foreground, just to really push those darker shadows and really make it feel like a full dynamic kind of range in terms of the image.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that like this reference, it feels like a clear day. Like it's not too hot, it's not too cold. It feels like one of those beautiful like clear blue sky days where like the render, I feel like it's like a hot day. Like she's out there in the sun, she is sweating.
She lives in Arizona. I know these days.
Like it feels hot
Yeah.
in that picture. Yeah, and it's hard to like put my finger on what it is. I guess it's just because like she's so in the sun. Like I feel like she's like almost bordering on being a little like blown out in this image, where we move her like closer to the camera and maybe even like behind this like blue screen part. I feel like it'll sort of start to mimic that reference a little bit better, where she's not like directly in the path of the sun, where it's sort of like she's just chilling in the shadows.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm like, ooh girl, I hope you have your sunscreen on because it looks scorching hot out there.
Yeah, no,
SPF 500, please.
you're totally right. Like in this one, you can like it's almost like from the way the sun is here, it's hitting her. Like we can see a little bit of the wrap, like with that Rembrandt lighting right here on her cheek. But like most of this is almost in shadow.
Yeah.
And so that
He could.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he could probably make the wall a little less reflective, or cut down just some of how the wall's bouncing light, because the wall just looks really blown out, or move the light so there's more shadow in front of her.
Yeah. And the wall in this one is, like at least in this from on my screen, is arguably blown out.
Yeah, but it's not reflecting so much on her like it does in his.
Yeah, so that might be a light linking thing. Is kind of like having something that's giving that wall that high contrast, bright look, while you know, having your character separated. Another thing is because this is like a shot match of this image, like she's kind of sitting down and lower in the frame, and so like it like changes the like how much of her we're seeing, because if she was standing, you know, it'd probably be similar. So like I wonder what, like now that you've kind of shot matched the props, what it would look like to like maybe go a little bit higher on Ashley. Like let us see the arm that's back here, maybe see some more of her hair, and then definitely like you were saying, Bree, like bring down this like the brightness on the lights that are hitting her, and the spec bring that down. Definitely want to see some like the spec in there, but yeah, bring it into like a less super bright range, and maybe even like this one really, that's this and the arm are the only place where the spec really is showing up on the skin. So you could play with that a bit more. I know you probably have the glasses to contend with getting like some Rembrandt look, but that'd be a good place to start.
Definitely. The only other thing I'm like seeing is like the black in her shoes is really gray because of how intense that light is. But if you look at the reference, the black that this character is wearing, it's like super, super black.
Mhm.
So I feel like that'll be a good like reference point for when you're lighting this scene is if you look at the black in her shoes and then look at the black in this reference to make sure like it's not getting too hot in the Ashley scene.
Yeah, that's a good call. Um, and my last thing is I think something I just noticed. This building is really cool, but I think it's in this reference it's actually further away, which is why we're not seeing her reflection as much. So maybe then this feels very close. So maybe pushing that a bit further away and showing a bit more of the city in it. For some reason, she looks giant over here to me in the reflection, and I couldn't place it until I looked back at the reference. But that could just be a personal thing, and it's totally fine. Like it's incredible what you've done to recreate the reference. Nice job. Next up, Jeremy character lighting, Jeremy. Sweet. So this is the reference over here. Then we have the example. I think that you're matching this rim light really nicely. You've got the sun hit. But I'd say the one thing that's really standing out to me is this background has these nice warm peachy pinks, whereas your background's got this kind of darker blue. So if part of matching this reference is like getting that exact lighting, I would suggest swapping out the sky for something more close to this kind of sunsetty look, to kind of give more realism to, or maybe not realism, just justification to that kind of really intense orange light coming from the side. Anybody else? And then, I mean, like this also, it's probably just a texture thing or putting it on a flat plane, but I wonder if there's a way to swap out and get like a grassy texture that will make the character feel kind of set in this a bit more. Because right now the shadow just kind of looks like it's on a flat plane. And so that'd be something to potentially look into if you're able to. What else? That'd be my suggestions to start, swapping out the sky and giving it that warmer look overall and helping tie the background to the foreground. Alrighty. Oh yeah, go ahead, Jordan.
I think the rim light, it almost feels just a little bit too bright. I think it could be toned down by maybe 20% because the one on the left is pretty bright, but it doesn't it feels a little bit too blown out currently. But I think if you turn it down just a little bit, maybe 15-20%, I think that would be perfect to still feel like a really warm sun, but not glaring hot, but rather just a really strong sun, if that makes sense.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sweet. Next up is Kevin. And then I think this is a still. This might be about the light on the flower. So I probably won't be able to say much other than that. It doesn't look overexposed and it doesn't look gray. And in the motion blur is a bit of pink from the sky. So that looks good to me, but that one might be best for Mike to readdress. But it looks good. So I think that's it for the community, but now we have 2 reels to show. Mike and Jasmine both submitted for feedback from the group. So I'll go get those set up real quick. Let's see. Get to watch me stumble around.
Well,
got
with everything
this.
that's happened, at least we know to maybe find some way to keep track of shots we do over our career. You never know when you might need a demo reel.
Yeah. Oops, full screen. Now I know the plight of Jasmine and Mike. All right.
How many
You're on the
screens?
other side now.
Let's try to make this as big as possible. Load it up. Turn off the sound. Okay, so this is Jasmine's lighting demo reel. I mean, that's so cool.
Beautiful.
So well, I'm not going to have many notes on the lighting, obviously, because it's
Yep.
it's already done
That's
and
it.
it's
I love
beautiful.
this one.
But right here, I feel like having the fade in on your title come up and then the shot changing was a bit jarring. So I would suggest kind of bringing it up over this image, if possible. And maybe it can stay on that image. I know that's probably a short amount of time, but maybe some other solution. The second switch, or the second switch of shot isn't as jarring to me as this first one. Yeah, I think that's up to you, that last one.
This was such a great movie.
Yeah.
Saw this like 2 days ago, actually.
Oh, nice.
Loved it.
Cool, and I like the very simple but also really pretty designed font at the bottom, like conveying what you did. So I feel like it's clearly communicating to me with like your responsibilities, the caliber of your work.
Is the video buffering or is she pausing shots? It keeps kind of stopping. I don't know if you're stopping or she's having
Oh,
shots to pause.
I've been
That's-
pausing every now and then.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I was like, that's weird.
Yeah, no, that was just me pausing, going back and rewatching. Oh, Callahan, I'm gonna mute your mic because it was giving some weird feedback, but feel free to unmute if you wanted to say something. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, this is cool, like the like similar color tones and being in this like same area, like.
Oh wow, I never. Yeah. I do like the color, like what you were saying about the color tones. Like it goes from like that, like those more vibrant greens, and then to the spies and the skies, and then to the purples, to the grays more, and then back to the greens again. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I gotta love that plant shot though.
Yeah.
Like the only thing I'd sort of say, like watching it now, is that it feels really long, and I don't know if like lead lighters have more leeway with like, because I'm sure like Jasmine can get someone to watch her reel for 3 minutes, so that I don't think that's like an issue. But I know when I was in school and still now, you know, we're told to keep our reels to like a minute and a half at most. So I guess like if I had to like crit something in
Yeah.
Jasmine's reel, that would probably be it. Was that like it was getting a little long, and so like I'm working on another project on the side while we're in this, and I kept like looking back over at my project to see how it was doing every so often at the end because I was because it was just like a little long in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and possibly like you could have one that you're sending out like for the initial impact. So like one that's like a minute long, that's for getting people to then dig further, and then they like possibly then would go to the site and then want to look at like another
Definitely.
one. So I think that's a good suggestion is experiment with having a shorter version, uh, using like a lot of these shots, but and like still conveying the range of work and styles that you have been able to do. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, I would say if that's kind of the tack that she wants to take, just pick maybe the shots that are I mean, obviously these are all feature film animations, so they're all complex, but the shots that maybe were a bit more complicated to send out in like a short, like kind of eye-catching reel, and then you could have the longer one as like kind of more of a complete reel.
mhm.
You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if like action or not action is harder to light or not, but kind of because it's kind of they're all coming from the similar movies. So pick kind of, I guess you would say like your hero shots, that your favorites or the ones that you felt were the most complex from each movie that you worked on, and put those in a smaller reel to send out. And then you can link them to this for the bigger, if you want to see more, go here kind of thing. If that's kind of, I don't know if that's standard industry procedure, but that might be a good way of doing it.
Mhm. Yeah. And all this the typography is great. It's very very pretty and makes it unique. Sweet. Well then, let's move on to Mike's reel. Go ahead. All right, sound is off. Bam. And the same thing. I like the fact that the lighting, compositing, and all the information's at the bottom, unobtrusive. This is a good one for like subsurface.
I love that glare that was hitting him in that one frame at the end there.
Yeah. It's a good one for like showing scale. I think my gut's already telling me kind of what Bree was saying about Jasmine's as well. Like, it'd be cool to see a 1 minute version, 1.5 minute version, like to be your like impact reel, and then having a longer 3 minute one, like on your website.
Definitely. I think it would be interesting too, because I think it would like show us more about like what Jasmine and Mike worked on that they were like really passionate about. Like, I feel like what makes that real is stuff that like they either would think was like super complex to work on, or just shots they really, really liked. And I think that would be really telling to me, you know, if I was looking to hire on a new like lead lighter or something, you know, like what made them happiest to work on.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, like getting to the variation quicker, because
Mm-hmm.
like the variation in films, I think that's a good point. Like showing in those first 20-30 seconds the breadth of work you've done. So, you know, seeing something from Ice Age, seeing something from Ferdinand, from Spies in Disguise, like I think that'd be great. But yeah, I think that was a good point, Bree, for both of them. It's shorter impact pieces.
I'm curious about what you think of this, guys, in terms of like real length, because I know you were saying like something about like having a shorter one, but I guess my perspective is with the fact that a lot of these are like animated shots, I think a couple things they might be like, I think with all the like diversity, the length might be a little more crucial since there's so many animated and you want to like show the length of those shots and while also showing diversity. So I think maybe like in terms of like what the university people were saying, I think that might apply more to students because our reels are not likely going to be animated shots. So I'm just curious what you think on that because I think I mean, I have no idea how hiring processes work in terms of like hiring seniors, but I would guess that longer would be maybe better. Like the 2 to 3 minutes might be better because of the range of animated shots, as opposed to us. We don't really have a huge amount of diversity in our portfolios yet.
Yeah, I mean,
so our reels
there's definitely might be
shorter.
a difference, like from applying for like a junior position versus applying for a senior position, and they'll probably have better insight on that. And I know that Jasmine's done recruiting, but at the very least, I know like from the recruiting stuff I've heard, you know, if they're like. Even if you're like you're a senior, you're someone hiring senior, like you're still going through a lot of portfolios in a day, and you're still human. So like you're still looking to be impacted, like in those first few seconds, to then dig further. So you're right that maybe it's about like maybe for a senior it's about making sure those first few shots in your reel really convey the variety and breadth of your work, and then you can go into the more serialized lighting like Jasmine and Mike have in theirs. So yeah, that's definitely something to consider.
Yeah, like for me, I watch mine, like when I watch my reel, which is just static images and then animations, it like watching mine, I could not imagine watching that of my own reel for a minute and a half because it's just static images, but I could personally watch animated reels for a lot longer just because there's so much more happening. So that's kind of another reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the recruiter who has to go through like 50 of these.
Yeah.
And you know, like I definitely don't know what it's like to, you know, hire like seniors, but I think like even if you just see like a minute of even just like the first minute of Jasmine and Mike's reels, like you get a sense that they know how to light, like they know what they're doing.
Definitely.
And so like I said, I don't like know what their like hiring directors are looking for with seniors, but like looking at their stuff, they definitely like know what they're doing, and I think even in a minute and a half, they can definitely show like they got the stuff, you know. And I just think it'd be interesting too to see like, because I know when I make a reel, I always like agonize over what to take out, so I think it'd be like almost interesting to see like looking at this, and then if they put out like a minute long reel to see like what did they cut out, what did they think were like the standout parts of their reels, and I think that would be like really informative like to how I make reels, because I'm always like, what do I take out, what if I take out the wrong thing, you know. So
So basically you want them to torture themselves so we can figure out how to make really cool reels.
well, I think it's just like honestly kind of useful.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just kidding.
I was like, oh god, did I say like the wrong
No, you're good.
No, yeah, I'm just like super interested in what they think like their best work is too. So I guess maybe like a little selfishly, I'm like, I would love to see them cut down their reels so I can be like, this is what they think looks really, really sick.
Which of your children do you
But
like the
yeah, I
best?
think these.
Tell us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think these are both beautiful.
Yeah.
They just cover like such a wide variety of stuff. It's hard to be like,
Yeah.
I guess because like I've seen what.
Oh, I think he was just agreeing, but you're right. So yeah, that's definitely what I would say for to both Jasmine and Mike is, yeah,
Hello, Jasmine.
Hello.
yeah. Let's see what they look like in a minute form, if that's something that they feel recruiters would want to see, and it'd definitely be cool for us to see another pass at these where they shorten them and be able to compare for sure. Sweet. I think that was it. So this is running long. So I think we should at least end the recorded part now. So thank you everybody for joining, and hopefully Mike will be back tomorrow with a report of a safe bill of health and that everything's okay. And yeah, I'm glad that we all got to get some practice in doing some critique and hang out. So.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for joining. We can stay on, but I'm just going to hit end on the recording.